DFS podcast with hosts John Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, everybody? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the MLB DFS Playbook Show here, breaking down Friday's 11-game main slate here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. James, it is Friday. We've made it. It's the end of the work week here. Well, end of the work week for most, not for us, but end of the work week for most. A little 11-game main slate over on DraftKings. We're going to be breaking down here today.
11 games on the docket. Some pretty big names. I feel like Shohei and Valdez have been on every slate together this year, like the last 5 slates. We have some elite pitching, Joe Ryan, Kodai Senga, Paxton. We have a plethora of big-time pitchers on this slate. Great American in play, Arizona headed there, no Coors Field. It's a great day to be great, John. That's all I got to say.
It is a great day to be great. And, we do have maybe some potential weather to pay attention to here. Looking at the Friday forecast in Boston, the rain percentages start to tick up. Isolated thunderstorms starting at 6 p.m. Jumps up to about 50% as we hit the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hours. So could be a little wet here up on the East Coast. I know New York also showing the little weather rain symbol. I'm pulling up the New York City weather for Friday as well. Same deal. Where this game, it kind of starts to wind down. So maybe a delayed start in the New York game. There are thunderstorms starting all day, starting at 7 a.m. Basically 50, 60, 70% chance of thunderstorms all the way. It clears out around 8 p.m. according to the hourly forecast right now. If that moves slower, though, that means the storm lingers a little bit longer. So New York, maybe a delayed start in their matchup against Kansas City. Boston might have to play wet in their matchup against the Mets there. So 2 games to pay attention to when it comes to weather, but at least the rest of the slate looks pretty clear.
Yeah, well, I mean, another day where a few games could be impacted by rain. But, we move on and we give the people what they want, and that's some winning picks, Sean.
That's true. Before we get into breaking down tonight's DFS slate, quick shout out to Real Time Fantasy Sports. Go to realtimertsports.com/alarm. New users who sign up will get a 100% deposit match up to $200 when they use code ALARM23. They have DFS picking games for PGA, MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA, all that good stuff that's starting up. They have it there. You can have an opportunity to 40x your entry there. If you can go, 5 for 5, 6 for 6, you can go ahead and get 40x return. If you want to use their mulligan option, it gives you an opportunity to get one wrong for a little bit of a reduced payout there. But still a lot of great things happening over at Real Time Fantasy Sports for their DFS picking games. But, of course, they're also renowned for their best ball and seasonal fantasy contests. So you can check all of that out there over at RT Sports. Again, rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23 will get users a 100% deposit match up to $200 there. Let's go on over, James. Let's break down the DraftKings main slate here for this evening. We'll get into it. Like we said, we got 11 games to talk about here on the main slate. Shohei Ohtani, it's our top price pitcher on the slate. Framber Valdez, as you mentioned, 10-8. Joe Ryan, 10-6. 3 guys up over $10,000 here. Ohtani versus Pittsburgh, though, man. That is a matchup to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, maybe his last start as an Angel as well, as the trade deadline is ever so close to us now.
This upcoming Tuesday?
Yeah, right? 10 days. 10 days. Yeah,
10 days away. Okay.
10 days away. Yeah, I mean, Shohei. Yeah, look, it's a dream spot. It's $11K. It's expensive, but he is a guy. Now, has he labored through some of these last couple starts? Sure. He definitely struggled in Houston. He definitely struggled in San Diego. But we know the upside in the White Sox start. He had 10 strikeouts, 33 fantasy points.
Tougher teams, he's had some trouble. The easy teams, he has not. So
yeah. So I definitely think it's viable. And, like, most of this top tier is in a pretty good spot. Like Ohtani's in a good spot, Framber's in a really good spot against Oakland, and Joe Ryan is in a really good spot against the White Sox as well.
Yeah. How many times has Framber played Oakland this year? We got 2 starts. He's 2-0, 15 innings, 1 earned, 12 Ks. That's good.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good. So
averaging over 7 innings a start is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
1 fantasy points a game, pretty good.
Pretty good for the relief pitcher that is Framber Valdez.
Yep, relief pitcher, got it. Yep.
Joe Ryan, as you mentioned, gets minutes against the White Sox here. Nothing wrong going with Joe Ryan. Faced Chicago once, 6 innings, 1 hit allowed, shutout, 7 Ks there, but he's clearly the third man of that grouping.
Sure.
We'll see if the Boston Mets game goes off, but if it does play, do you like Senga or Paxton in this in their matchups here?
I mean, Senga's been really good lately. The strikeouts have been on full display, 8 or more in 4 of his last 5 starts, including 3 in a row. And we had the 12 strikeout game against Arizona. That's been in large part. The walks have been cut down a little bit from the 4 and 5 he was consistently putting forth earlier. Can get there. I think Paxton is fine for GPPs to bounce back. I mean, blip in the radar against the Cubs. It happens. Like he's had 1 bad start since the beginning of the year. The Angels start and then everything else has been pretty glistening. So, I'd go back to the well with Paxton in tournaments.
Yeah, Paxton just got tagged by Bellinger. I think it was Bellinger hit like a grand slam off him or something like that.
Yeah. And we know Bellinger has been dominated against lefties this year.
Yeah. Can go if that game plays for sure. Miller, Peralta, Suarez, your next grouping there. Obviously, Peralta against Atlanta more likely to fade. Bryce Miller against Toronto could be interesting. Toronto just is a weird team this year in terms of how their offense performs. Ranger Suarez started the year with us looking to stack against them. Then he went on a crazy run where nobody could touch him. Now he's starting to flip the other way again. Where are you on Ranger Suarez here against the Guardians?
Given that he doesn't have like a big ceiling in terms of strikeouts, it's probably a fade for me because the Guardians don't really strike out to begin with, and they hit lefties kind of well. So I'll probably pass. I think the next name I would probably get to, and someone that we've stacked a lot against, it's Lance Lynn. The one thing I'll say is that he is missing a lot of bats when they're not lefties. Right? Hitting home runs off him. If he can avoid Julian and if he can avoid Kirilloff and Kepler
and Gallo.
Well, I mean, but that's part of the strikeout appeal too. Like all those guys are strikeout prone. Yeah. Minnesota strikes out more than anyone else against righties. So I would get to Lance Lynn. I'd also be okay stacking people against Lance Lynn or playing one-offs against Lance Lynn. But nobody in this tier has 4 double-digit strikeout games on their resume. So I'm okay with getting to Lynn here.
I don't care for a lot of the value. I mean, Gonsolin gets Texas, not a spot. Lively against Arizona in Cincinnati, not a spot I'm looking at. Heaney versus the Dodgers. Gavin Williams gets Philly. Soraka gets Milwaukee, maybe, but Milwaukee is, they're hitting. We shout out to our guy in chat this morning talking about the Brewers heating up. We kind of thought maybe Ty Walker was a decent play. He turned out okay, but did get tagged, and Milwaukee ended up winning that game. Yelich with the big 3-run home run in that game. Sears against Houston, probably a no. Tommy Henry versus Cincinnati, probably no. So,
Clark Schmidt.
You think Clark Schmidt's your guy?
Yep. Royals coming off his best start of the year, post All-Star break in Coors Field, by the way. 8 strikeouts. Again, it's all about the strikeouts for me. Last 2 starts, 8 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts. He was using relief before the break because, we had a break. So anybody and everybody was used in relief appearances. Right. So Clark Schmidt has 95 strikeouts and 94 innings this year. Has he struggled with lefties? Sure. Kansas City doesn't. We've already talked about it ad nauseum. They're 29th in OPS against righties. They're 30th in WOBA against righties. I think Clark Schmidt makes for a pretty good value down here. And honestly, someone who I was stacking against right off the bat, John, Alec Marsh, on the flip side of this matchup, 11 strikeouts against Tampa Bay, 5 in all 3 starts. This guy was terrible in AAA last year. He was 2-16 between AA and AAA last year. He turned around before getting the call. If you're telling me that he has this type of upside, 11 strikeouts, the Yankees are abysmal. They are abysmal. Harrison Bader might not be in the lineup again after getting hit with a pitch. He was getting x-rays on Thursday. You know, Judge isn't there. They're a mess. They're breaking fans. They can't hit. Like, I would probably take a shot on Marsh at 5K or Tom. Like, one of the pitchers in this game is going to be a really good value.
Yeah, I'm a full agreement with you there. I'm kind of running through some of these numbers here. He had 75 strikeouts in 62 minor league innings. It looks like there. So, yeah, it seems to be a big strikeout guy. At least at the minor league level. Struggled more at AA, went to AAA, and actually pitched kind of well. So yeah, maybe I like Mars. I mean, the home runs are an issue, but Yankees aren't hitting home runs. So
no, we're not. No.
Yeah, listen, I think the best case scenario would be for this game to get delayed and then start late, so these pitchers don't get interrupted.
Yeah.
Right. So moving on over to catcher, talking about, I guess, the catcher, but the infield in general. Tell me about where we're looking to spend up for when it comes to the infield today.
Yeah, so Mookie Betts only second base eligible now, by the way. No longer in the outfield. That's also, they sent Vargas down. He is playing there pretty much every day. So I think Mookie Betts against Andrew Heaney is a good bet for something big here, considering Heaney's struggles of late. He came off that really good start his last time out, but he got tagged by Washington. He's back to giving up a lot of home runs. 7 home runs in his last 5 starts is not great. So Mookie Betts at the top for me. Anyone Houston related in the infield, JP Sears. I like Bregman. I like, we know Jeremy Pena has really good success against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard not to want to stack Reds in some capacity when you get Tommy Henry on the mound. I know Tommy Henry
in Cincinnati.
It's pretty appealing. So where do we got?
Do you think Ellie sits here? We've seen India sit. We've seen McLean sit. Who's the next guy on the bench? Feels like it could be an Ellie.
Yeah, it could be an Ellie sit. I would still play him, hoping he breaks out here. I know he's done most of his damage against left-handed pitching at the big leagues, but he had a good split from the right side in the minors.
It could actually be Votto with a lefty on the mound.
Yeah, it could be Votto, and they play Steer, and they just play Steer at first base. Yeah, that could definitely be the case. Because you play Steer at first, and you still have one of them's DHing, and then one of them's second.
What does your outfield look like though? Because they have all outfield lefties. I guess they just play him because Steer would have generally played one of the corner outfield positions, probably.
Well, you play Senzel is probably only playing against lefties now. Sure. He is only playing against lefties.
Yeah.
Friedel has at bats against lefties, and Fraley doesn't. I don't think Fraley has any at bats against lefties this year. Right. And you probably can't take Will Benson out of the lineup at this point.
I would hope not, with the way this man's playing.
You probably can't take him out of the lineup. So Benson, Friedel, Senzel, and then you just as first sign of a righty, Senzel's out of the game for Fraley pinch hit.
Yeah, probably how it goes. I would agree with you. I think he'll run back to Atlanta again. I like Freddie Peralta. He's on my fantasy team, but Matt Olson double donged today after. We were waiting, right? We were waiting for the breakout. 5 1/3 perfect
today, and they still scored 7 runs and hit 4 home runs.
Austin Riley, home run and a triple. Michael Harris came through. So, I am still in on Atlanta here. Now they're in Milwaukee, which is a good hitter's park, too. Sign me up. Sign me up for some Atlanta.
So annoying. It's annoying. And this has been MLB DFS for me in a nutshell, and I tweeted it out on Thursday. They get a matchup against Ryan Nelson and do literally nothing on Wednesday, and then they get a matchup against Zach Gallen where they're being perfect gamed and then still score 7 runs and 4 home runs in a 3-inning span. Where I'm not playing. That's what MLB DFS has come to me lately. It's been a brutal couple weeks, John.
Yeah. I also think Texas is in a good spot here. They're expensive, obviously, but Gonsolin's peripheral numbers have just indicated for most of the year that he was pitching a little bit better than or worse than his numbers were looking like. Seager 62, but once again, I look at his last 10 games and there he is, 300 with 1,000. It's just like clockwork. Guy doesn't struggle. So I like that. If we're looking at for some value, here on the infield position. Where are we taking a peek at?
So lefty on the mound for Toronto, Eugenio Suarez is $2,800.
Okay.
He has been scorching the earth hot lately, and he did it again on Thursday, not with a home run, but 2 hits again on Thursday, double-digit fantasy points again on Thursday. So Eugenio Suarez, 2,800. We know his pedigree against left-handed pitching. I think he really stands out going up against Yusei Kikuchi, who, as we know, just allows a lot of home runs. That is what Yusei Kikuchi does.
I like Candelario at third as well. Again, get a lefty on the mound. And Alex Wood here going up against Washington.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you are not playing Alec Marsh and Oswald Peraza is leading off, I'm okay getting there. Emmanuel Rivera homered off of Spencer Strider on Thursday. Home runs in 2 straight games now for Emmanuel Rivera. If he's starting, I know Ben Lively is back, but that's in Great American. Look, you got to play Wilmer at this point. He homered again on Thursday. And I know I touted
only Wilmer Flores, by the way.
Yeah, first that's annoying. I know I touted Lance Lynn, but again, lefties are his kryptonite. So if you do want to play Minnesota, Julian is
Kirilloff.
Julian is what, 31, same price. Kirilloff 22, same exact price. We'll get to the outfield in a bit, but those are some of the good values for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. I don't really have too much to add. CJ Abrams is another guy that I would just mention. I know it's a lefty, but I mean, the man he's here, right? Like he is really hitting the ball well. Doesn't really matter who's on the mound for him there. Stolen base potential as well. So on CJ Abrams, $3,300 for him. There's another value piece. Moving on over to the outfield here. Top guys here are obviously, Acuna. You have Tucker against lefty, who he's been mashing against left-handed pitching here. Corbin Carroll homered after, again, doing nothing for a little bit. Boom, great player. He gets lively in Cincinnati. Got to like that prospects for him there.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be one of the higher-owned outfielders of the day because, like you said, he had a stolen base early. He got on base, he had a walk, scored a run. Corbin Carroll things, and then was just like, let me just hit another late home run. He has
hit a lot of late home runs, hasn't he? That Atlanta game, 16-13, that was a late home run.
Dude, he's done a lot of late damage.
A little bit of a home run drought though. So it wasn't the 16-13 game. It was maybe the Mets game. He had a late home run. One of these games recently, he had a later home run, but today's one was a late home run as well. Yeah.
I think I love Kyle Tucker against lefties. It doesn't scare me. I continue to say I play Kyle Tucker when he's scorching hot and he's still doing the damn thing. So those two probably for me above 5K and JD Martinez against Heaney just for the home run upside. I will say, whatever Christian Yelich is on, I want some.
I was going to wait for you to see if you mentioned him.
He has another 3 hits, another home run. Him and Cody Bellinger probably called each other hey, do you want to turn it back on for everyone to show them what we just haven't cared for? And and Cody Bellinger put down his blunt and was like, yeah. And then
it's wild to see the seasons that these guys are having. Bellinger, could be a guy that's traded, at this point, basically the way he's performing right now. So I'm in there. Lane Thomas at 48 gets the lefty. I like Stanton. Again, Marsh has been giving up a lot of home runs. You want to take a dart on the home run play? Could go Stanton there. Steer gets the lefty. You get Yoshida versus Senga. That's just an interesting matchup for the story behind it.
Yep.
He's $4,600. Again, a Red Sox guy that has been white hot. 378 with 1,000 OPS. We know that. Jaron Duran has been really hot. He's at 4K here as well. The Angels, Moniak at 41 against Oviedo, right? That's a pretty good spot for him.
Yeah, lefties against Oviedo have been very fruitful So I'm definitely down to get to Moniak. The only downside to Moniak is he strikes out a lot, but he's been incredible. He's hitting third, too. They're batting him third behind Ohtani, so he's getting a lot of pitches to hit.
Yep. No disrespect to Michael Harris, so I skipped there to go to Moniak. He is also a very good player. So
yeah, very good player.
Can go there against them if you want to. Under 4K, what's sticking out to you here?
Chas McCormick, 3,700. He continues to rake. 4 home runs in his last 3 games. Just water is wet. Homered again on Wednesday. Michael Conforto and the lefty giant bats are just too cheap against Jake Irvin. Jake Irvin has struggled specifically against lefties this year, so you can get to him, or you can get to Conforto or Yastrzemski down here, who are just far too cheap for their upside.
Teoscar versus the lefty?
And then Teoscar against the lefty. Yep.
I know his numbers have sucked, but numbers against lefties are still good this year. So
numbers against lefties are still good this year. Let's see. Numbers against lefty. I'm just going to pull them up too, just for lefty on the mound.
I guess I'll caveat saying that when I put them in my PrizePicks plays a few days ago, the lefties against the numbers against lefties are still good.
So they'll still be good. They'll still be good. It's taking my computer is not responding right now, so I'm just gonna actually
call it a day.
I mean, like what, dude? It's just every time there's more than 2 Fangraphs tabs open.
I got it up. Against lefties, 286 with a 571 slug.
Yep.
That's good, right?
286 ISO. That's, all those things pretty good.
Yeah, good. Texas guys down here, Duran and Tavares. Just for reference here, let's see what Gonsolin is hitting at these days here. Tony Gonsolin, Fangraphs. Still not good. 502 xFIP, 470 FIP, expected ERA 488. So I am still very much willing to stack against this Dodgers pitcher here. And if you're going to spend $6,300 in Seager, you're going to need 3K of Leotes and Duran and Janikowski's $2,900. So,
speaking of cheap outfielders, Jake McCarthy, 3K.
Yeah, Jake McCarthy, 3K.
You think he would lead off?
Because he hit 7th today. So
yeah.
Big sad there. I like Jokes here at 3K as well. Looking at some value guys.
Stone Garrett for sure.
Again, dude, I played the Nationals the other day. It worked out fine. So you guys should too. They're actually kind of an interesting team. So especially against lefties and righties really this year. They're hitting the ball pretty well. Alex Call's another one that you can find your way into the lineup for, as well as a cheap guy.
That was a good call.
Thanks. Kepler versus Lynn. You mentioned lefty power.
That's it.
It's probably.
Unless there's we didn't mention CES, but CES in the infield, by the way, still.
Oh yeah, what's his
they moved his
first base only.
Yeah, he moves his position first base.
First base only.
Well, that's interesting because if Votto sits, when Votto sits, you can play CES at first if you want.
True. All right. Let's get into our lineup building process here.
Yeah, let's get in. Let's go.
Just plugging Ohtani or plugging Framber? I don't think we can play both. 35.
No, let's not.
We might be able to. Strand at first. We have some cheap Nationals. It might. We have some time. We have some time. Let's play around with it. Can there? Let's see. Value catcher. Got Kybert. Candelario. Stone Garrett. Right. 3,700. What else did we have for some value? We had McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're up to 4K here. Second base. Julian.
Yeah, Julian 31.
4,500. Let's see. What's our spend up? Do we want to try to fit Seager or do we want to go outfield with spend up?
Well, you could do Leote and then maybe get Seager.
Let's see. Leote are just shy of Seager. Could we go?
You could Janikowski.
$100 off. $100 off. Well, nobody plays Kybert, so let's see here.
You could also go down if we're playing Julian. You play Kirilloff at first instead.
True.
If you wanted to play,
that's actually a great call. Kirilloff.
They hit first and second. Julian hit first. Kirilloff hit second on Thursday.
Okay, I'm down with that, and we can go back to Kybert then. There's $700 now. Go up from Janikowski
to Leote or Tavares or
yeah. Do you have a preference of Duran or Leotes? Let's see. Gonsolin splits here. Are they both switch hitters? No, right?
No.
Only
Tavares is, and Duran only hits from the right side.
Let's see. 281 Woba versus lefties. So that's the weird thing, right? Like all of his numbers are good, but they're not good. Let's XFIP. Let's see XFIPs here. XFIP versus lefties is 478. Versus righties, it's 525. So
Leote, who's been better? 357 Woba, 298 average against righties. He's been better.
Okay. So if we're gonna go double spend up, we gave ourselves a Nationals twin stack with the Seager bump at $6,200 at short with Leotes and a one-off Jake McCarthy because he's our boy. That's not a terrible lineup. Like that lineup could do some things. And now the lineup could also we could have a lot of zeros.
We could definitely have a lot of zeros.
But the pitching should be elite.
Do you want to quickly put together a Ohtani, Marsh, or a Framber?
Yeah, let's go Schmidt here.
Schmidt, yeah.
And we'll re-rack here.
What's your
stack that you like?
The Angels are really good against Oviedo.
I just hate that we can't use Ohtani.
I know. There's cheap Mariners.
You want to go Suarez?
Yeah, Suarez is really cheap at third.
Suarez at third.
He's been really good.
Okay.
The Reds are hard to ignore. San Francisco is good.
So we'll go back to Strand?
Yeah, we can go back to Strand. That will provide us a steer in the outfield with a lefty on the mound.
Sure.
4,700. They'll probably stack each other too. That's probably right next to each other in the lineup.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with Kybert still?
Yeah. Okay. He's good, dude.
4,700 for second, short, and two outfielders. Julian still is good, but do you have another?
Yeah. No, we could just play Julian. He's a default because we'll be able to afford pretty much anything we want.
200, yeah, we can fit whoever we want here. I'm just gonna go back to one-off and Seager. $4,700.
Feels good for two outfielders. That feels good.
And we liked some cheaper guys down here. We can still play Moniak.
That's what I was thinking too. Moniak and then 5,400 for JD Yelich.
That's against Soroka.
Yelich.
Okay. That work for you?
Yeah.
Works for me. All right, guys. So that's a look at a couple of lineups that we're building here. Again, first look, James and I will be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern tonight on the live stream. Update you with all the information you need to have. We'll rebuild some lineups, go over our favorite plays, and give you some RT Sports Pick'em props as well. I'll be on the playbook, so be on the lookout for that. Get us in the Discord, and James and I will